Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to our info session for the City of San Antonio COVID Impacts Program. We're happy to have you here. We'll get started here in a moment. Bienvenidos a todos a la sesión informativa para el programa de subvenciones de la ciudad de San Antonio y Lift Fund. Estamos felices que están compartiendo este tiempo con nosotros en este momento y empezaremos en un momento.
أهلا وسهلا بالجميع في أهلا وسهلا بالجميع للكوفيد المنحى بتاع كوفيد لمدينة سان أنطونيو. حنبدأ في العرض بعد قليل.
We are offering this information session in 3 different languages, English, Spanish, and Arabic. Right now on the screen, you see the English instructions on how to stay within the English channel of the webinar. You want to make sure that you select in the control panel in the Zoom interpretation, you click the language you want to hear, and to only hear the language of your choice, make sure you mute the original audio. We do encourage you to stay within the same audio for the entire session, just to make sure that you hear all the information. Estamos ofreciendo esta sesión informativa en 3 diferentes idiomas. Para escuchar en español, en los controles de la reunión en Zoom, tiene que buscar donde dice interpretación, haga clic en el idioma donde dice español y para escuchar nomás el idioma interpretado, haga clic en silenciar audio original para que nomás escuche la sesión en español.
العرض اليوم سيقدم ب3 لغات، الإنجليزي والإسباني والعربي. الاختيار للعربي تذهب لعناصر التحكم في الأسفل وتختار البرنامج، تنقر على تفسير. بعد ما تنقر على تفسير حيطلع لك الخيارات ال3 للغات. حتنقر على العربي وهي آخر لغة بعد اللغة الإسبانية عشان تسمع الترجمة باللغة العربية. وإذا كنت تبي تسمع باللغة العربية تضغط على العربي وتكتم الصوت الظاهر في أسفل الشاشة.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Lilian Spenley. I'm with Lift Fund and I am the Grant Programs and Operations Manager. We're so delighted to be partnering with the City of San Antonio for this program. And so with us today, I'd like to introduce Caitlin Cowart, the Economic Development Manager for the city, to give a few welcome remarks from the city.
Hi, everyone. It's good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be in your company this afternoon. I am a small business manager with the Economic Development Department working on the COVID Impact Grants program. The program was approved by City Council and it was a result of extensive community feedback over many months. And you have been heard. We recognize that many of our small businesses continue to feel a significant strain as a result of the pandemic. And the funding for this program is available through the Federal American Rescue Plan Act and is intended to reach our hardest hit businesses. I want to thank Lilian and the whole Lift Fund team for being a great community partner to us in this endeavor. I also want to thank our community partners, Centro San Antonio, Culturingua, Maestro Entrepreneur Center, Prosper West, San Antonio for Growth on the East Side and South Side First Economic Development Council. They've all partnered with us to reach out to the community and also to provide individual assistance in completing the application process. So all of their information is on one of the tabs in the on the grants website. I'm sure we will be going over all of that. Lilian has all of the great information about the details, so I'll hand it back over to her.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. So let's jump right in. We'll go through an overview and then we'll go into all the details on the program eligibility and the required documents and the scoring system that's a part of this program. So the city has set up a $17 million fund to assist those small businesses, as Caitlin said, that continue to struggle throughout these past 2.5 years of the pandemic. The grant amounts will range from $15,000 to $35,000 for businesses that are located in an area that has been affected by a construction project that's been identified by the city. There will be an additional $10,000 supplement available to those businesses. All completed applications will be reviewed based on the information that you provide. The timeline for this program, the application actually opened this past Monday, the 1st, and will be open until August 22nd at 5 p.m. So be sure to start your application early and don't wait until the final day to get it in. The application must be submitted, not just begun by 5 p.m. on August 22nd. Then the application review period will begin right after that on the 23rd and continue until early December. Award notifications will begin to go out on September 7th and continue through December 5th. And then lastly, funding will begin the following week on September 14th and continue until mid-December or December 12th. The website for this program will be at the bottom of every slide, but just in case you'd like to follow along there, it's cityofsanantoniocovidgrants.com. So what can we use the funding for? It can be for most business expenses, so including payroll, working capital, business rent, inventory, supplies, equipment, or other operating costs. Applicants can only receive one grant. So if you have multiple businesses, you'll need to apply for just one of them. Or if you have one business with multiple locations, you'll need to apply for just one of those branches or locations. Unfortunately, nonprofits are not eligible for this program. All applications will be considered based on the following criteria. So have gross sales in both 2020 and 2021 that are less than your gross sales in 2019. Again, this program is focused on assisting those businesses that are continuing to suffer and be negatively impacted by the pandemic compared to their pre-pandemic operations. Additionally, the 2021 gross sales must be at least 20% lower than the gross sales in 2019. The business must have been operating before January 1st, 2020, and you must be able to show financials in 2019. The NAICS code, or the business activity code of the business, which is a number that's found on your tax return, must be one of these following, which we'll see here. So one of these 42 codes, and I'll pause here on this list to let you all review it. All of these codes are also listed on the website, so you can refer back to it if you need more time to review it. Okay. Again, the business must be in operation currently and not have filed for bankruptcy at the time of the application. You must be located within City of San Antonio and be planning to remain there for at least a year. You cannot be a gambling business, a franchisor, a sexually oriented business, a nonprofit, a payday and auto loan provider, or a liquor store, or be a city employee. Also, you cannot have applied for the ARPA for Arts program. And then lastly, you must be a representative of the business. So you must be an owner listed on the formation documents for the business. As far as the required documents, it's a pretty straightforward short list. So we'll need a driver's license or government issued photo ID. We can accept the passport or the matricula, the proof of your business registration with Bayard County or the Secretary of State. These can be, an assumed name certificate or the certificate of formation or incorporation. We'll need proof of the number of employees that you had in the first quarter of this year. So that could be a Form 941 that you filed with the IRS. It could be a payroll report for that first quarter, or if you have contractors, then copies of the checks that were written to those contractors. As far as the number of employees that are being considered, that would include you yourself as the owner, the full-time, part-time, or contractors that you have. Next, we'll need a business utility bill. If you are home-based, that's not a problem. We can accept a home utility bill. Or if you are, if all of your utilities are covered by your landlord as part of your business lease, then we can take a copy of your lease instead. That's no problem. In terms of financials, we'll need your 2019, 2020, and 2021 business tax return. For 2021 only, we can accept a profit and loss statement if your return hasn't been filed yet, but we will need the filed return for 2019 and 2020. And then lastly, if you are a veteran, we'll need your DD-214, your proof of military honorable discharge. Now, to move on to the scoring, and we'll see some more details about this when we look at the website together in a moment, but there are 5 components to the scoring. So applications are not awarded on a first-come, first-served basis, but rather all applications will receive a score, and the highest scoring applications will be considered and reviewed first, followed by the lower scoring applications. So the 5 components that are part of that score are the % reduction in gross revenue that you experienced between from 2019 compared to 2021. So businesses with a higher reduction in gross sales will receive more points in this category. There are certain industries that will receive priority and receive more points, and you'll be able to see a list of those industries on the website in a moment. Finally, next, demographics. So businesses that are female, veteran, minority, or disabled owned businesses will receive priority. The 4th category is the Equity Atlas score, and that is based on your business address and where you're located within the city. And we'll show you a link to the map where you can look up your equity score on the next slides. And then lastly, prior COVID funding received. So if you've received PPP, EIDL, Restaurant Revitalization Fund, or one of the 2 previous city small business grants administered by Lift Fund, you will receive fewer points. This is so that we can prioritize businesses who have not received any or limited previous assistance. Having received these grants doesn't disqualify you from applying for the grant. It simply will be factored into your grant score. So more details as promised. So you can see the breakdown of how many points are awarded for each qualification or priority category that you may meet. So for gross revenues, as I mentioned, the higher the reduction, the more points received. For the industries, if your business activity or NAICS code begins with one of these codes listed here, then you'll receive the corresponding number of points. And we'll also show you how to look up your NAICS code if you're not sure where to find that. Again, if you're a minority, woman, veteran, or disabled owned, you'll receive some points. The applicants who are in have a higher equity score, so they're in the more underserved, historically underserved areas of the city will receive additional points. And then lastly, the less previous funding that you've received, the greater the points you will be qualified for. The application is found on our website at www.cityofsanantoniocovidgrants.com. It typically takes about 25 minutes to an hour to complete, and you will be able to begin the application and save your progress, close out of it and return to it later if you find that you need to do that, if you don't have the chance to complete it all in one sitting. In order to submit, you will be required to include all of the requested documentation. For questions, you're welcome to call Lift Fund at 800-923-9551 or to email us at sbgrants@liftfund.com. We also have 7 community partners, which Caitlin mentioned earlier, which can also assist you to answer questions and also offer in-person application assistance if you need some help completing the application. And we'll show you that list of those partners and their contact information again in a moment. So those partners are Centro San Antonio, Prosper West, Sage, Southside First, Maestro, Culturingua, and the Women's Business Center. We have all of their phone numbers listed here and all of their contact information, as well as a map showing where they each are located, is on the website that we'll view in a moment, so you can determine which partner is closest to you for assistance. Some additional resources, we have actually added a whole section of additional grants and resources through the city for you that you can look into and consider accessing if needed. Lift Fund as well has some loan products that are available, and we also have free business assistance through our Launch SA and Women's Business Center offices. So we'll take a moment now to go to the website and show you where each of these pieces of information are within the site. The site is available in Spanish, so you can always switch to Espanol if that is your preferred language. We'll switch back to English for now. So again, just an introduction about the program. You have the program application open period here. Again, the application will close promptly at 5 p.m. on August 22nd. The button to take you to the application portal is right here at the top of the page, so easy to find. Again, some more background on the program and the range of the amount that you can qualify for, which is based on the % reduction in gross sales comparing 2019 to 2021. Again, the limitations are 1 grant per person, per business, per location. We have the eligibility criteria here, and this page will be very useful. This link will show you those business activity or NAICS codes that are eligible. So you can go to that page. If you're not sure where to find your NAICS code on your tax return, you can actually scroll to the bottom of this document, and depending on your type of return, you can see which box or line number to locate that NAICS code depending on your return type. For some people, they may have a blank NAICS code or one in which their tax preparer just put 99999. In that case, we'll give you the site to look up your appropriate NAICS code online so that you're able to determine that. We won't recap the eligibility requirements, but you can always refer back to them here. For determining your gross sales, we're also just giving you a guide on how to determine your gross sales versus your net on your return. So we'll let you know exactly which line to consider. If you're not sure whether you're within the city of San Antonio, we also have here a useful link where you can type in your address here, right at the top, and it will identify for you whether you are within the city, and the map will appear here in just a moment. And so you can type in, for example, your business address, and as long as your address appears within one of these city council colored shaded regions, then you do meet the geography requirements for this program. The next, you'll have again the list of required documents, all the details on the scoring methodology, so you're able to even calculate your own score. And then you have that map as promised for the Equity Atlas, which is on the City of San Antonio's website. So you can go to the map, type in your address, and determine your equity score. If you go to the site, you'll want to be sure to click on the Combined Score tab at the top. And then from here, you'll be able to type in your address using the search tool. Then from here, we'll go back. The timeline, just a recap here as well of when not only the application period concludes, but when the review process, the award notifications, and the fundings begin and end. For businesses that are selected for funding, you will be required to complete a follow-up survey in June 2023, 2024, and 2025. And you'll need to keep detailed receipts for all of the expenditures for which the grant funds were used. Lastly, we do have the additional resources mentioned, so assistance with utilities, as well as other options for small businesses for which you can contact the city to learn more about, and then a list of other grants that you may be eligible for, that you may want to apply for. These are not offered by Lift Fund or the city, so they are other grants from other organizations. We'll go back to where we were. Oh, let me switch back to English here. We will have one more info session on August 15th. So if there's anything that you missed today that you want to find out, you can always, of course, call our support line at any time or register for the final info session on August 15th at 6 p.m. That session will be offered in English, Spanish, and Pashto. Again, for assistance with the application, you can reach out to one of those 7 partners, and you have a link here with the map of their locations and their websites and all of their contact information. So you will need to make an appointment for in-person assistance. The partners, because of demand, are not accepting walk-in appointments. So please do schedule your appointment with them sooner than later, so you're able to get in before the end of the program. The list of the partners can also be easily accessed at the top of the page by clicking the Partners tab. And then we have some frequently asked questions, so we'll go through these quickly. Sole proprietors are eligible as long as your business is registered with a DBA. If your gross sales in 1 year, 2020 or 2021, were lower than 2019, but the other year was higher, you will not be eligible. But gross sales in both of those years must be lower than 2019. As far as employees, as I mentioned, we're including yourself as the owner, part-time, full-time, and contractors who work for you on a regular basis. If your business is located outside of the city, but you serve customers within the city, you will not be eligible for this program. You must be physically located within the city. If you have two businesses, you'll need to select one that you submit the application for. Can I receive assistance by a third party like a CPA? You can receive assistance from a CPA or a bookkeeper or a friend or one of our 7 partners. However, all of the contact information in the application should be for you versus that third party, so that if we do have questions as we review your application, we can reach out to you directly to clarify that information. The other important thing to note is that our 7 partners have been trained and vetted as quality, reliable partners who are familiar with all of the requirements of this program. Their services are free. And so if you are approached by someone who is offering to do the application for you at a fee with some type of guarantee that you would receive funding, that is not someone that you want to work with. So please stick with one of our trusted partners or your trusted bookkeeper or accountant. If you are a sole proprietor and you don't have a DBA, that's okay. You can go and register for a DBA now, as long as you have been reporting your business income on your Schedule C in each of the years 2019, 2020, and 2021. This is a grant, so you don't have to pay it back if you're selected. It is not a loan. If the business address on your tax return or your business formation documents is a PO box, or they are different than where you're currently located because you may have moved since registering or last filing, that's not a problem. We'll verify your current business using the utility bill or the lease that you provide, and we'll be going by that current address, not a previous address. If you don't have a utility bill, again, that's no problem. We can accept a copy of your business lease agreement, or we can accept, if you receive like a monthly rental invoice, we can take that. As long as it has your name or business name and the address on there, that's what we need to see. Again, for help with the application, you can reach out to Lift Fund at 800-923-9551. Or email us at sbgrants@liftfund.com, or reach out to one of the 7 community partners to schedule an appointment, or you can call them for a quick question if you don't need in-person assistance. As far as who qualifies for the $10,000 construction impact, the additional $10,000, we do have a list here of the construction sites that were identified. And so if you are within a 1-mile radius of any of these sites, you will be eligible for that additional $10,000. And I'll leave that list up here for a moment, but you can always return to it through the website. Okay, and then again, just one more time, we've got all of our contact information here. In addition to calling or emailing us, you can also submit a question online using our inquiry form. So you can just put in your name and email and a quick summary of what your question is, and we can reach out to you and in your language of preference between English and Spanish. Okay, and I will open up the floor now for the for questions. And thank you, Natalie. You've already been answering many questions. We will we'll go through and answer some of the more frequently asked questions. But please feel free to submit as we go. So one question is, will we know our score before the award? So you're welcome to calculate your score based on all of the details about the scoring on the site. However, the score itself will be calculated as you submit the application. Okay. Let's see. Yes, we've received lots of questions on the NAICS code. If your NAICS code is not one of the ones on the eligible list, which I will share again here, then you would unfortunately not be eligible for this program. And so this list is here. Okay. Let's see. The list of construction areas is an exclusive list. So those are the projects that were coordinated by the city and that the city has identified. Okay. Yes, this is a good question. If you and a spouse or a partner both own separate businesses and they are completely separate, business formations, different types of businesses and different locations, then you are both welcome to apply. Yes, a question about the equity score. So we will go back to that. And that's under the scoring methodology section at the bottom here. And it can sometimes take a moment to load, so we'll bring that up. And again, we'll go to the combined score and we'll type in, using the search icon, we can type in our business address, and then it will zoom to one of the colors, and you have here on the side a key for the which category you fall under. It will also give you a window that says that your equity score is a 7, and then we can refer for this particular address, and then we can refer to the website to find out on the scoring methodology section that a score of a 7 will earn 10 points. Okay. Yes, so if you are missing something in the application, we will reach out during the review period. But again, you won't be able to submit the application unless, all documents are uploaded. But if there is some clarification needed, or if we need an additional document, we will certainly reach out during the review period. Yes, we've received this question a lot. So if we have one business with 2 locations and one is perhaps suffering a bit more than the others, you would need to select one location to apply for. So presumably the one that is in greater need of assistance, the one that's had greater losses, and apply for that one. If all of your locations finances are combined on the tax returns, that's not a problem. You'll just need to upload each of the 3 years of tax returns, but then you can also provide a profit and loss statement for just the one location for which you're applying, so that we're able to separate out those financials for that particular location. Okay. There's no set number of grants per city council district or per zip code. The awards will be done based on the highest scoring applications first, and continuing through the applicant pool until all of the funds are awarded. Okay. If you have had one NAICS code on your tax return, we get a lot of questions about this, so thank you for asking. If you have one NAICS code on your tax return, but you believe that it's not representative of your actual business activity, you can select in the application the NAICS code that you feel is most appropriate for the type of work that you do. We will verify that then during the review process. Very good question. How were the NAICS codes decided? How was it decided which ones would be eligible for this grant? So those codes are ones that were identified through a study as having had 5% or more job loss since the beginning of the pandemic. Okay. Yes, again, as you'll be able to see in the frequently asked questions, if either 2020 was lower than 2019, but 2021 was higher, or vice versa, you would not be eligible for the program. Yes, the business must have been opened by January 1st, 2020. But you will need to have financials in 2019. If you received a grant last year and it was one through the City of San Antonio administered by Lift Fund, it will be factored into your application score, but it doesn't disqualify you from receiving the grant. And for this program, we have a question about net versus gross. For this program, we are solely looking at your gross sales versus your net, and that is for all aspects of the program. Yes, these grants are just for the San Antonio area, and the business must be physically located there. Okay. There's a, we're having some comments on the NAICS codes that are included, and a desire for a wider range of NAICS codes to be eligible. That's certainly some feedback that I would share with your city council person for consideration in future programs. Yes, if your tax return shows an old address, then you'll be asked to submit a utility bill for your current address, and we will verify your address based on that utility bill versus the tax return. After you've submitted your application, you will not be able to go back and edit. So definitely review it carefully before hitting that submit button. However, you will be able to go and edit, as much as you need up until you've submitted the application. These are great questions. Thank you all for your interest and your engagement.
Hey, Lilian.
Yes.
Hey, I have a couple of clarifications on a couple of the questions and statements. So I wanted to go back to the question about construction. So just to put some context to that, the projects that were selected are city voter approved bond projects that were 18 months in length. So they would have needed to have started between September 2019 and December of 2021. So that's how those were selected. Also, just regarding all of the eligibility, including the NAICS codes, those were city council approved. So I just wanted to mention that, and a consideration of a variety of factors, research with local economists and other cities, and also reaching those hardest hit businesses due to loss of employees.
Thank you so much, Caitlin, for that extra context. Looks like if you're a sole proprietor, all we'll need is your Schedule C. We will not need the rest of your 1040. So just that those 2 pages of the Schedule C for each of the 3 years is all we'll need. If you don't have a brick and mortar address, then yes, we'll be looking at your home address or wherever it is that you do your business, sit at your computer day to day, or however you do your business. It looks like we have a few participants with raised hands. Please, if you'll type your questions into the Q&A, we will be able to answer them there. You're also welcome to type your questions in Spanish or Arabic, and we will be able to provide those answers if those are your languages of preference. And if you do have additional questions after the session is over, again, you're welcome to reach out to Lift Fund or any of the partners, or to email us after the session, or to register for the upcoming session on August 15th. And it looks like we still have some questions coming in, so we'll continue to stay on right up until 3 p.m. And then again, you're welcome to reach out to us afterwards if you have a question we weren't able to answer on the call. Thank you, Natalie, for fielding so many of these. Natalie is my essential sidekick. Okay. Yes, great question, Denise. So you'll want to use your current, this is a question about having moved partway through the year, but you'll use your current location wherever you are today, the day that you apply, which we'll verify using the utility bill. If for whatever reason your gross sales were higher in 2021 than 2019, or higher in 2020 than 2019, you will not be eligible for this program. Okay, Natalie's answering that one. The contact number is 800-923-9551 or sbgrants@liftfund.com. That's S as in Sam, B as in battery, grants@liftfund.com. As far as the payroll, what information needs to be included in the payroll report, that would be the number or names of the employees and the amount, the wages paid during that first quarter period. And then as far as time frame restriction on the use of funds, it will be any expenses incurred since March 3rd, and Caitlin, correct me if I'm wrong, March 3rd of 2020 and up until December 31st of 2024.
Yes, for utility. I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
As far as what expenses or the time frame for expenses that can be covered.
Yes, that's correct.
And we can accept Cash App statements, but it will need to be the full statement, which you can download from the Cash App app versus an actual statement. But we will still need your tax return. So the Cash App statements won't replace the tax return. And then you do need to have been in business and operating since at least January 1, 2020. So if the business opened last year, you would not be eligible for this program. Let's see. If the gross sales were higher in 2021 than 2020, but both are still lower than 2019, then that's fine, that's eligible. And yes, we answered that question, great.
I do have a clarification, I'm so sorry. It's actually costs going back to March 3rd, 2021, with the exception of utilities, which can be covered back to March 3rd, 2020.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Sure.
And we've got about 10 more minutes here. So yes. Yes, if selected for the grant, and you keep all of your receipts, if those receipts are needed, we will reach out to you by email. And then for the question, I believe this is from a hair salon owner. If you own a salon and the stylists, you have stylists who rent a chair from you or rent a station from you, they will not be contractors or employees. So they are actually each individual separate business owners. So you would not count them in the employee count, correct. And thank you for those of you raising your hand. Please do type your questions in the Q&A and we'll get to them right away. For businesses, looks like Natalie's covering that question. If your mailing address is a PO box, we would want to know where your physical address is. So, I would guess in your situation, it may be a home address. That's fine. We just need to know what that home physical address is. And of course, that it be within the city of San Antonio. Yes, so a recording of this session in all of the 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Arabic, will be posted to the website within a few days after this session, as well as the slides from the session. We will need a Schedule C versus a Form 8995. And again, many of the frequently asked questions that you all have covered here that are also available on the website at the bottom here. So definitely encourage you all to refer to that as you complete the application. And again, a reminder not to wait until the last day to submit. Applications must be in by 5 p.m. on August 22nd. Let's see. Yes, if you had a DBA that was, registered a long time ago and has since expired and you've renewed it, that's no problem. Please just submit both your old one so that we can see that date prior to January 1st, 2020, as well as the new ones so that we can see that you're still, currently actively registered. For the gross sales, we're looking at each year independently, so no combining or averaging the years. So we'll only be, for that percent loss comparison, we're only comparing 2021 with 2019. So 2020 is not a factor in that percent reduction. If you can't find your old DBA, it looks like Natalie is posting the link where you can look up on the county clerk's website. You can find a copy of that. So not a problem, you'll be able to access it there. There is not a minimum gross sales needed in order to be eligible, as long as you do have positive gross sales, so it can't be 0. Yes, for federal funds received, we are only looking at the PPP, the EIDL, and the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. So those are all within 2020 and 2021, or for the Restaurant Revitalization, 2022. We will not need your paperwork for all of the previous grants received, just the required documents for this program. Yes, this is a very important question. If you do receive the grant, it will be taxable, and Lift Fund will issue you a 1099 in January of 2023. And you can always consult with your bookkeeper or CPA for how it would be reported on your return. We've got just a few minutes left, but I want to thank again the city and Caitlin for this wonderful support to small businesses and longtime partnership, as well as all of our partners and my Lift Fund team, and all of you for being here today and for your interest in this wonderful program. We'll just wait another minute or two for any last questions, and we wish you all the best of luck as you complete the application process. Okay, well, oh, we've got one more. One more question about the NAICS code, which it looks like Natalie is taking care of. The Schedule C, it will say Schedule C right at the top of the return. It's typically about 6-7 pages into your 1040, but just look for the one that says Schedule C. Okay, well, it looks like we've got all of our questions. Thank you all so much for your attendance today, and we look forward to helping you as you navigate through the application process. Have a great day, everyone.